Welcome to Accelerate Your Wealth, a podcast by Rebecca Robertson, founder and director of Evolution Financial Planning. This series, we're focusing on female financial independence, looking towards a stronger financial future. Be sure to let us know your thoughts on the show, and please do connect with us on Facebook, LinkedIn or Instagram, or head over to www.rebeccarobertson.co.uk.
Hi, it's Rebecca and welcome to today's show. It's a solo one from me, and I'm talking to you a little bit about what would I do if I could start over. Now, I'm not talking about this in the life sense of every mistake I've made. I'm talking about this in business context. So in September coming up, it's going to be my 11 years anniversary of being in business. So I've pretty much seen it and done it. And I've learned so many mistakes and things along the way that I thought this session, I would talk to you about what I've learned and a little bit about where I've got to, how I've got to where I am today. Now, I'm just going to turn my light on those on the video, and apologies those on the audio, just because it's beautifully sunny outside, but it's very dark in my office. Okay, so let's put things down on the table. Have I got a multi-million-pound business with a huge team of 25 people and living on a yacht? No. And I don't want to. For me, I have a situation or a family set up where for many years I've been the main caregiver to my children, and as for a lot of women, we haven't had the chance or the opportunity to even get past that stage, or we're not in a position where we can retire our partners so that they can then take over that role. Now, there are people that have, and that's great, and I applaud them. But the vast majority of us, we're not at that point. So for me, my partner wouldn't want to get retired. He probably would in reality. But for us as a household, our earnings would have to be, we've got a good, healthy household income. So for that to happen, it's quite a stretch. We're not just talking 30, 40 grand a year extra. We're talking substantially more than that. So then when you're running a business and you've got the kids to look after and you've got the business to run and the household to look after, and I've got animals and horses and such like, you get to a point where you start to realize that your time is such an asset, and you have to be careful what you wish for. So for me, if I was going to start again, I would have been much clearer on the boundaries for myself and for others. So I would waste less time doing the things I know I shouldn't be doing, and being able to balance more accordingly to achieve the right objectives. Now, that's quite a sweeping statement. So how have I made some mistakes there? I think I did things that I didn't need to be doing for a long period of time. So when I first started, I done wedding shows, I did psychic fairs, I did, you name it, I did it. Every single expo, every kind of event you could imagine, I went to it. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, and I got to know a lot of people over the years. But was it the best use of my time? No. Did it achieve the objective? No. Did I get business from it? No, not all the time. I was very passionate about women in business, so I ran a non-profit for a long time, which I loved. But did it help me grow my business? Possibly, because I had a reach of other people, but I'm not sure about that. And when you first start out, you have to be very, very clear on how you're going to spend your time and where you're going to get your clients from, because it is harder work. And then you start to get busy actually looking after actual clients and doing an actual job, in my case, that you then have to find that balance. Now, for some people's business models, they either do a lot of one-to-one work, so they have a capacity as how much work they can do, or they're running courses and programs. But either way, they take a level of delivery. If you have products, you still got to distribute those products, you still got to market those products. So it does depend on the kind of businesses, obviously, that people run. So I would be a lot more stricter on my boundaries, and I'd ask for help sooner, and have a little bit more faith in the fact that it wasn't just going to be a little, what I would call a hobby job, like a few £100 a month kind of thing. it was going to be something that was going to be achieving much more. The biggest mistake that I made if I was starting over is that I recruited a lot in other financial advisors or other financial planners when I first started the business. But I would, the way that I worked with those people is that I basically, my little boy's outside whilst I'm recording this, playing in the garden, playing with something that shoots bullets and a dinosaur. So hopefully it won't disturb the audio too much. So this is going to make me chuckle whilst I'm doing this, because this is the reality of life, right? It's the summer holidays and I want to get a podcast recording out. And so that is what it is. You might not be able to hear it. So when I was taking on those people, I was so wanting for it to be successful for them and so wanting to deliver a service to them, but I actually didn't put my boundaries or the business boundaries in place. It wasn't about my objectives or the business objectives first. It was about other people. So my question is are you doing that at the moment? How are you doing that potentially even in the companies that you work for? How could you stop that from happening going forward? What adjustments do you need to make? What conversations do you need to have? And quite often that there might be conflict involved there. It might be having difficult conversations with people, and really start as you mean to go on. So for me, at one point I had about 9 advisors working under the brand, and it basically meant that I wasn't able to focus on the things that mattered. In actual fact, those advisors weren't actually producing business. They were taking up a lot of my time. They weren't producing revenue. And at first that was okay. Even after a year or so, that was okay. I was like, we're going to make this work. And I looked at the business model and it wasn't working for them and it wasn't working for me. And there's numerous reasons why that was the case. So I would stop doing things that don't work quicker. So they're the main learning so far. It's a lot of it is around boundaries. Now, all of those decisions that I've been making over the years comes back to how I'm feeling about myself, my own self-confidence, my own self-worth, etc. So the biggest tip that I would do is I'd work on the things that I knew were issues, although sometimes at the time you don't know they're issues. I'd work on them sooner. The third thing is that, so when I say work on them, I mean work with a coach, actually like get rid of this stuff. Whatever I'm being triggered by, I'd work on a coach and get rid of it quicker. The third thing is that I bought into courses and programs, masterminds, because I felt like they were going to give me an answer or give me a solution to my problem. At times, what they gave me was, a really good, broad understanding about other elements of business. But I wasn't, in my business model, it was difficult to leverage and monetize them. It wasn't as, I don't like the word easy, because being a business isn't always easy, but it doesn't have to be hard. But it's all about that flow of where business is coming from. And it always felt like I was reinventing the wheel all the time. I was almost trying to make it harder work for myself. So once I stopped doing that and I focused on just what worked, oh my goodness, it was so much easier. And it was often the simple stuff, the stuff that I've been doing for years, that I knew how to do, and I didn't really need anyone's help to do it. So I think sometimes we end up chasing the rainbow, chasing this, magic, shiny object, and actually all we need to do is focus on really what we know that works already and just carry on doing that. So they're my sort of 11 years in business. That is what I've learned, and what I'm going to be doing going forward is keeping it that's the case. So if I grow anything, it will be my regulated business, and it'll be a case of working out how I want that to work long term. And I've got some fantastic ideas and ways I want to do that. But the way that I will start it was very much around the core objectives of what I want the business to look like and how we're going to achieve it. And it's about having that impact and serving people, and less about what, lots of prima donnas, what they want, what their needs are, and actually putting the client first, and delivering a really good service. But it's interesting in business, because what I've then found when I've backed off from all those other things that I was doing is I've now focused on my regulated business, but I feel like there was something missing. So if I think you remember, I just mentioned before, I ran a non-profit women in business networking group for 5 years. And so just back in June, I started another, if you like, networking group. We don't always talk about finances. Obviously there are things that come up that are financially related, and it's more to do with my business experience and their collective business experience, where we help and support each other. And so it's called the Alliance Collective, and I have a taste today that I'm running on the 1st of September. So you might be listening to this in the future, so you can just check out a future taste today. And basically, Alliance is all about coming together and having a mutual idea of having a mutual outcome, and a collective is a group that will come together. So the Alliance Collective is basically a women's networking group, and the way that I run it is on a sort of a mastermind format. We have a monthly mastermind, and then we also have a monthly collaboration pod, where we work out how we can help and collaborate with each other, as well as meetups and as well as spa days and such like. And the reason I missed that element to my business is actually that's what I was searching for when I was looking at other masterminds, when I was in other masterminds, in other programs, in other groups. And I got it to an extent, but it wasn't consistent enough, and it didn't always happen. And I do believe that if I'd have had more of the right people around me when I first started, that I possibly would have got to where I was going quicker. However, things are what are meant to be, and we are where we are. It's a case of recognizing when you're going through a difficult time and having the right group of people to go and talk to about it, because no one understands your business better than you. And so if you can get a group of people around you that, you know, over time can get to know you and your business, then they can call you out on your BS. They can support you in making some clear decisions and ask some of the really prudent questions about what that future looks like. So I love running the Alliance Collective. It's becoming a really lovely part of what I do in my day-to-day or week by week of my running my businesses. And what I've noticed the most of is that sometimes there's a subject that comes up and it's an area that I'm quite au fait with. And I go around the table and say, right, has anyone else got anything to add? And people say, no, you pretty much nailed it. And it's made me realise that there's 11 years in business, there's a lot to be shared, and there's a lot of knowledge to be gained by sharing those ideas together, and sharing opportunities, and helping and supporting each other through sometimes what can be difficult weeks. So there's some of the things of what I would do if I started over again in business. Financially speaking, I would not worry so much about pushing through, like earning a certain amount. And I've been recently doing some meditations, and it's interesting. As soon as I heard this piece, it brought me back to coming away from the facts and the figures and things, which do play a part in your business, don't get me wrong, but it shouldn't be all about that. It should be about delivering a service. And in this meditation, it's all about your purpose in life and how you're delivering impact and how you're helping and supporting each other. And I feel like if you have that at the core of your business, as of all your decisions, then the rest will just fall into place. And so my questions are to you is, what conversations do you need to have with people? What boundaries do you need to set? What areas do you know that you're struggling with that you need help with? What kind of conversations do you have to get the right support? And last of all, how are you getting ongoing support in terms of what that bigger or long-term picture might look like for you? So they're my learnings of my 11 years in business. If you have any questions or reflections on any of that, I'd love to hear from you. I'm going to be running a detox, money detox in my Money Mastery group from September, which you're welcome to join us. And as I mentioned just a moment ago, I'll be running on the 1st of September a taster day to the Alliance Collective. So if you're in business and you want to come and see what that all looks and feels like, then check out the show notes below and you can come and register, and I would love to see you there. and show you how I do things within the group. And shows that we got coming up, we have a lady called Maddie who's going to be talking about not so much the cost of living, but we're going to be talking about expenses and what's happening in the future. And if there's anything else that you would like me to talk about, then do let me know and I'll happily get recording. Of course, if you're enjoying the show, then please leave a review. I really do appreciate it. And those that email us on rebecca@rebeccarobertson.co.uk, sharing the screenshot of your review, you will enter yourself into a monthly draw to win a copy of my book and my wealth planner, which is available on Amazon. Total cost is somewhere around like £35-40. So we'll be doing a draw for that. So please email us. That starts from the 1st of September. So do make a diary note from the 1st of September and go and leave us a review and let us know. Sending you all lots of love, and I'll see you all soon.
Thank you for joining us on today's episode of Accelerate Your Wealth. For further help or to connect with Rebecca directly, please head over to the website www.rebeccarobertson.co.uk, where you can find further information on our planner, book, and how to further maximise your wealth. For any regulated advice, please do head over to www.evolutionfinancialplanning.co.uk.